Hello, guys. Today we are going to talk about the 2025 Houston Texans. They were a legitimate powerhouse this year. 12 wins, a dominant defense, and a second straight trip to the Divisional Round. But if you had these guys on your fantasy roster, your season probably felt, complicated. While the real-life Texans were cruising, fantasy managers were dealing with a routed receiving corps and a mystery injury to Joe Mixon in a ground game that never quite found its footing. So today, we're going to break down the 2025 Texans, where they struck gold, why the run game went bust, and why a certain rookie receiver might be your biggest 2026 sleeper. Let's dive in. Let's start with the face of the franchise, CJ Stroud. Stroud delivered exactly what you want from a high-floor QB1. He finished the year with 3,041 passing yards and a career-high 64.5% completion rate. He did this while missing a few games as well. The best part, though? The protection. Stroud's sack rate plummeted, and that's even with trading Laremy Tunsil. And his connection with Nico Collins remained one of the safest bets in football. Speaking of Nico, man, the guy's a machine. 1,117 yards, top 10 in the league. Even with a crowded room, Nico proved he's the alpha in Houston. He gave you that dependable PPR floor with enough big play upside to win you weeks. And then we also have to give a shout out to Dalton Schultz. In a year where the tight end wasteland was real, Schultz was a breath of fresh air. 80 plus catches. That's gold, guys, at the tight end position. He wound up being Stroud's security blanket, especially in the red zone when defenses were overcommitting to the outside. Okay, we've got to talk about the elephant in the room. Joe Mixon. Losing your star running back to a medical condition before the season even starts is a nightmare for a coach and a death sentence for fantasy owners. Without Mixon, the Texans' ground game was, let's be kind, call it inconsistent. Woody Marks was the name everyone rushed to the waiver wire for, but in reality, he ended up being a pretty big fantasy bust. 703 rushing yards and almost no scoring volume. Marks never commanded that running back one workload we expected. This lack of a run game had a domino effect. Because teams didn't fear the rush, they sat back in shells. It's why Stroud's stats, while efficient, weren't spectacular. We didn't see that elite, explosive pass play every week. It was a completion-heavy, dink-and-dunk offense at times, which capped the ceiling for everyone. But it wasn't all bad news. Enter Jaden Higgins. This kid is a problem. Standing 6'4", Higgins became Stroud's favorite target. Things got tight. He finished with 6 touchdowns, which tied for second among all rookies, and flashed that go up and get it ability that makes fantasy managers drool. He isn't a wide receiver 2 quite yet, but in keeper or dynasty leagues, you're holding on to him with both hands. He's the physical mismatch this offense desperately needed to complement Nico's route running. So what do the Texans need to do to become a fantasy factory in 2026? First, they need to fix the backfield. Whether Mixon returns or they hit in the draft, Houston needs a workhorse. A balanced attack means more play action, and more play action means more deep balls for Stroud. Second, they need to find a secondary alpha. Now, Jaden Higgins, he's great, but adding one more dynamic playmaker would take the pressure off Nico Collins. If Stroud gets one more elite weapon and a healthy run game, we're looking at a guy who could challenge for the QB1 overall spot next year. And lastly, red zone distribution. We need to see Stroud turn those efficient drives into 6 points more often. 19 touchdowns, while it's solid, but for a talent like Stroud, we would want to see that number climb into the high 20s or 30s. So what's the final verdict on the 2025 Houston Texans? They were a great real-life team and a good fantasy team. Stroud, when healthy, was a consistent QB1. Collins, Nico, reliable wide receiver 1. And Schultz was a PPR tight end gem. And Jaden Higgins has all the makings of a future star. But until they fix that run game and find more explosive upside, they'll remain just a safe bet rather than a league-winning one. So what do you guys think? Is Jaden Higgins a top 20 wide receiver next year? Is Woody Marks a total do not draft for you? Let us know in the comments.